Well, I'm pleased to welcome Danielle Moore, who's the VP of Enterprise Sales at Mountain, to discuss why purpose-built creative is the future of TV advertising. Hello, Danielle.
Hey, John, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, well, thank you. Welcome. Thanks for joining us from your beautiful home.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate
so Danielle, let's get right into it. You only have a few minutes here. So define what you mean by purpose-built
it.
creative, and then why does it represent the future of advertising? It sounds like a very ominous or very important claim we're making here.
It
Why
sure
does
does.
it represent the future of advertising and TV?
Yeah, I mean, so as we know, and as it's been talked about today, and will continue to be talked about, right? The landscape of TV advertising has undergone a significant transformation with the rise of connected TV, right? The living room screen, the largest screen in the house, has evolved from being just a top of the funnel awareness play to being a really powerful tool for driving performance. And so what that means is brands can now achieve measurable outcomes on TV, similar to what they've been used to accomplishing on digital channels like paid search and social. But with this like shift, right, towards performance-driven CTV campaigns, it's also placed a much greater importance on creative content that brands are producing. So, in order to succeed on CTV, brands really need to be more intentional with the ad content they're creating so that they're best fueling their performance. And what that's done is really rewrite the rules on how brands approach creating ads.
Right. So then how has the shift toward performance-driven CTV campaigns rewritten those rules? What does that actually mean in terms of, we just talking about the content, we're talking about the creative. What does that actually mean for the advertisers and the people who are making that creative content?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it comes down to volume, right? And a few other variables, right? If you think about the former linear TV model, you may have been able to get away with producing only a few commercials per year, and what that was doing was raising the awareness of your brand. But two commercials a year won't really help you drive measurable outcomes in performance-focused CTV campaigns. You'll require a higher volume of videos, as well as a more deliberate and strategic approach to producing that creative that's purposely built for performance.
Right.
And
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to jump in and say, that that does come down to big changes, like actually creating multiple creative spots, or just making small variations that match up with the seasonality of the time that you're looking to have those communications with your audience, to call to actions and so on. So they can be big changes, and they can also be more economical changes.
So then how does this align with connected TV as a performance channel that brands can leverage as they try to squeeze as much return on ad spend out of their budgets? And can
Yeah.
you share any examples that would represent what Mountain would consider to be best practices for this approach?
Yeah, you got it. So what we mean by that is, ensuring that you're planning in advance for multiple iterations of your creative based on whatever your KPIs are, right? So, for instance, if you have two very different audience demographics that you're looking to target, you want to plan to produce probably multiple variations of your ad, with potentially different featured talent, different opening hooks, different messaging, different calls to action, as I just mentioned. And what that will allow you to do, which is pretty cool, is make more agile creative changes as you are monitoring and analyzing your campaigns, swapping out different creative elements to pinpoint and optimize exactly what is driving performance. This not only ensures that you're maximizing your goals, but it also, which is the best part, allows you to avoid wasting dollars on creative that isn't driving the most impact for your business.
Right. Can you give us an example of one that did that, and what were the takeaways from that?
Yeah, so we're fortunate to have a lovely ongoing partnership with a well-known national pet supply retailer, and so
Rhymes with no, sorry.
well played. And so over the course of this past year, and working with them, they've taken advantage of Mountain's production capabilities, as well as our real-time reporting and transparency there, and the ability to optimize in real time. And all of those things, right, together have helped them craft messaging to different audience segments, to track results and make really pointed changes, from targeting strategies to ad creative changes, right? And again, it's all based on these real-time learnings that Mountain is delivering. And the outcome, right, is really impactful too. I mean, this particular partner saw a 10x increase in ROAS, which is pretty extraordinary, and what we're all really striving to do.
Right. Were there any other KPIs that you could share with the audiences? And what did that actually mean, and how did they activate on it? You mentioned the platform. So yeah, tell us a little bit about the KPIs first, and I want to actually talk a little bit more about the platform itself.
Yeah, sure. So some of the KPIs were obviously like net new, bringing in net new consumers, right? And then also re-engaging with potentially lapsed consumers, right? And so figuring out what the right marriage of creative is in messaging and tactics, right, in order to reach those different audiences, and to because not every audience is speaking the same language. So you just have to be really thoughtful and strategic about the changes that you're making to those creatives. And ultimately, what Mountain's platform allows you to do is you can see the true impact of those changes, those small tweaks, right, in real time. You're not waiting months on end to get those results. You're literally able to see those results in a month's time, and then over another month, you're again becoming smarter and being able to take action in a much more efficient way, which if we route it back to advertising dollars and media dollars and budgets, right, it's also making you much more efficient as a marketer to make sure that your dollars are being spent where ultimately is the money is actually going to be driving moving product, and that you can actually prove that out.
Right. Now, obviously, on one of the keywords that's been used, buzzwords that's been used, has been fragmentation. And we talk about fragmentation of both audience, fragmentation of platforms, etc., channels. With all of that going on in the multiple devices, how does this work with, a previous panel we talked about ACR, right? With all the different type of devices out there and all the different type of ingestion points for data, for people to activate on using a platform like Mountains. How does that work? I mean, what is that we talk about sometimes with a Tower of Babel effect to what's going on in TV. How is that mitigated by using a platform like this to be able to really get that ROI and that ROAS?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to a couple of things, right? But first and foremost, in my opinion, it's all about simplifying the entire process for our customers, right? So they're using the Mountain platform to target, right, with no additional cost. They're using the platform to test and learn from a creative standpoint and tapping into our production capabilities. And they're also being able to rest assured that the platform is going to be optimizing towards whatever the results are that they're looking to achieve, right? So it's less about reach and frequency, and it's all about driving maximum ROAS for our partners. And we're also deduplicating on behalf of our customers, right? And are not counting any conversions that we can't verify that we actually drove that visitation for our consumers, which is also pretty wonderful. And all of this is then integrated into the reporting that our customers are using. So really, again, simplifying, making things really easy to digest, being able to see that against all of your other marketing efforts, right, in whatever dashboard that they want to view that in. And it's it's really it's a really wonderful thing that we're bringing to our partners.
I mean, so the idea being a one-stop shop, is that the
One-stop
goal?
shop for CTV for sure. Yeah.
Got it. All right,
And
great.
making sure that we're driving performance for our partners at all times.
Awesome. Well, that's all the time we have. Danielle Moore from Mountain, thank you so much for joining us. Up next, my colleague, once again, Parker Heron. Take it away, Parker.